reducing the blood volume. So one of the drugs that we use to manage these types of increase in blood volume is the use of diuretics. So let's now move on to drugs that could reverse the activity of sympathetic innervation brought about by angiotensin 2. We call those drugs as the sympathoplegics. So sympathoplegics could work on different pathways in blood pressure regulation. They could reduce the peripheral vascular resistance. They could also influence the cardiac output and increase venous pooling in capacitance vessel by dilating the veins. Okay, so these are the classification of the sympathoplegics. So some of them were already, or not some, all of them were mentioned already in the autonomic drugs. So you are already familiar with these drugs that I discussed previously. The first one would be the centrally acting sympathoplegic agents. These are called the alpha-2 agonists. Bakit sila tinawag na centrally acting? Because they can inhibit norepinephrine, okay, release, okay, lowering the blood pressure. So alpha-2 agonist, alpha-2 is a presynaptic receptor. So all presynaptic receptors are involved in auto-regulation, which is involved in norepinephrine release. So activating the alpha-2 receptor results in the inhibition of the norepinephrine, okay, from the presynaptic vessels. We also have the ganglionic blockers. These are the non-selective agents that we have. They are less clinically or rarely clinically useful now. We have the adrenergic neuron blocking agents. I have mentioned these. Okay, guanethidine and guanadrel. They inhibit the exocytotic release of norepinephrine. Kapag naman po reserpine, it inhibits the vesicular storage. It inhibits the vesicular storage of norepinephrine. So we also have the adrenoceptor blockers, which are the beta blockers and the alpha blockers. So let's proceed one by one with them. We will just review their effects. Mabilis na lang to. Okay, for methyl dopa, clonidine, guanabens, and guanfacine, these are the centrally acting sympathoplegic. So why they are called centrally acting? Because aside from blocking, so the release of norepinephrine, paano ba yung nangyayari? Okay, they bind with the alpha-2 receptor. So binding of the alpha-2 receptor will inhibit the release of norepinephrine in the cleft, reducing now the overall release of norepinephrine in the brain. So pag mababa yung norepinephrine sa brain, that would, okay, reduce sympathetic innervation, which can contribute to reduction in the blood pressure. On the other hand, for methyl dopa, aside from activating the alpha-2 receptor, methyl dopa could also act as a false neurotransmitter. So methyl dopa could be converted into alpha-methyl norepinephrine, and this could, okay, disrupt the synthesis of your catecholamines, so leading to also reduction of catecholamine synthesis. Okay? So yan pa yung isang mechanism ni methyl dopa. It could, okay, be converted to alpha methyl norepinephrine, which could compete okay, with the natural catecholamines, leading to their overall reduction in their biosynthesis. Okay? So, ulitin lang natin, the net effect when you administer the centrally acting sympathoplegics or the alpha-2 agonist is reduction in norepinephrine release. So, reduction could always, okay, reduce sympathetic innervation. And the reduction in the sympathetic innervation could lower the blood pressure. Okay? Last. Kaya napakaganda ng mga alpha-2. Ano nga yung una? They act as auto-regulators. The second one, they could act as false or pseudo-neurotransmitters. And lastly, alpha-2 blockers are natural vasodilators. They could also relax the vascular smooth muscle. So relaxing the vascular smooth muscle could directly reduce the blood pressure by reducing the peripheral vascular resistance or the PVR. So tatlo po yung kanilang mechanisms. That's why the alpha-2 agonists are good drugs for hypertension. So ulitin natin, they could reduce norepinephrine release by binding on the presynaptic alpha-2 receptor. They could act as a false or pseudo-neurotransmitter to reduce the biosynthesis of catecholamines. And lastly, directly relaxing the blood vessels to reduce the peripheral vascular resistance. Okay? What's unique about clonidine, on the other hand, okay, so clonidine naman, initially, it could cause brief hypertension. Sir, bakit pag nag-take ako ng unang beses ng clonidine, okay, nagkakaroon ako ng hypertension? Yes, because it binds to the postsynaptic alpha receptor. Do you still remember the postsynaptic alpha receptor? Can you help me recall in the chat box, alpha 1 or alpha 2? Pag postsynaptic, which is the alpha receptor found in the postsynaptic, okay, location. Postsynapse, alpha 2 or alpha 1? Can you help me? Correct. Okay, it's the alpha 1, thank you po, receptor. So, tandaan nyo, di ba, alpha 1 receptor is linked with GQ. QQQ contract. So, pag si clonidine nag-bind sa alpha 1, that would contract, okay, the blood vessels leading to brief hypertension. But after a few doses, clonidine will now bind to the presynaptic alpha 2 receptor, which can lead to lasting, okay, lowering of blood pressure. So, yun lang po yung initial effect niya. The initial effect for some patients, they develop, okay, high blood pressure when taking clonidine on first few doses because clonidine has a tendency to bind with postsynaptic alpha receptors. But after a few doses, clonidine will able to bind with the presynaptic alpha receptors, leading to prolonged hypotensive effect. Okay, so those are, okay, the mechanism of action of the centrally acting sympathoplegics. These are the differences between methyldopa and clonidine. Okay, can they reduce peripheral vascular resistance? Yes, because they are vasodilators. They can dilate the arteries. Okay, yan. Could they also reduce heart rate? Yes, because at some point, they could reduce the release of norepinephrine. Okay? Ano po yung toxicity nila? It includes sedation, okay, for both clonidine and methyl dopa. So when you would like to drive or operate machines, you have to avoid taking alpha 2 agonist. They could also cause lactation by problems for methyl dopa and positive Coombs test. So Coombs test is a test to determine hemolytic anemia. So pag nagta-take ka daw po ng methyl dopa, you are false positive. Wala ka namang hemolytic anemia, pero pag nag-test ka ng Coombs test under methyl dopa therapy, magkakaroon ka ng false positive reaction. So magpa-positive ka, pero wala ka naman talagang hemolytic anemia. It's called false positive Coombs test. Okay? And nabanggit ko na po that methyl dopa is a drug of choice for hypertensive during pregnancy. Hypertension during pregnancy. Ano nga yung mnemonics natin? Can you help me recall the mnemonics for the drugs we use for hypertension during pregnancy? Para maalala nyo po. Hi. Hi, Melanie. Wow. Okay, galing naman. Hi, Melanie is our mnemonic. So one of which is methyl dopa. For clonidine, it could cause dry mouth, okay, and should not be given for patients with depression. And take note, when taking clonidine, you have to taper the doses when you want to stop taking. By taper meaning unti-unti mong itigil. Okay? Because if you suddenly or abruptly abruptly stop taking clonidine, it could lead to rebound hypertension or what we call hypertensive crisis. Okay? These are the adrenergic neuron blocking agents. Mga doc, they are less clinically useful. Okay, so we don't usually use them now to treat hypertension. So these drugs were historically used. So you can just read them. Most likely, they will not be asked on your exam kasi hindi na sila ginagamit masyado. But they are good to know. Okay, guanetidine and guanadrel, okay, they prevent the exocytotic release. And sireserpine, vesicular storage of norepinephrine. Diba? Kung naaalala niyo yung SSR, synthesis, storage, and release. I discussed to you some of the drugs involved in the adrenergic synapses. So, ito yon, diba? Look, reserpine, anong binablock nga niya? It blocks the vesicular storage by blocking VMAT. Ano naman si Beryllium, guanethidine, and guanadrel? It prevents exocytotic release of norepinephrine. So those are the adrenergic neuron blockers. Let's now move on to the more clinically useful antihypertensive drugs. Okay, under sympathoplegics, we have the beta blockers. So, mga doc, paulit-ulit na natin itong diniscuss for several times. Yeah, let's just review kung ano ang advantage ng mga beta-1 selective blockers. They are also known as letter C. Ano nga sila? Blank selective blockers. Ano nga yung mga beta-1? You only have one heart. Ayun, correct. Nakita ko na. The beta-1 blockers are called the cardio-selective beta blockers. Anong advantage nila sa mga non-selective beta blockers? For non-selective beta blockers, they could block both beta 1 and beta 2. Ano ang advantage ng mga beta 1 selective blockers? they could be administered for what group of patients? Letter A and letter C. Correct. For asthmatic and patients with COPD. Because if you block the beta 2 receptor, it could further exacerbate, okay, bronchial asthma. Because blocking the beta 2 receptor could lead to bronchoconstriction. So again, we have to avoid the non-selective beta blockers for patients with asthma and COPD. Alternative drugs could be the beta 1 selective blockers. So I already taught you the mnemonics, okay, to remember the beta 1 blockers and the non-selective beta blockers, diba? Beam and C. Kapag naman non-selective, NST3PC. Next, beta blockers with ISA. Ano nga po yung characteristic ng mga beta blockers with ISA? Are they full agonists? Okay. Are they partial agonists or antagonists? Correct. Galing. They are partial agonists. So ano po yung advantage nila among the other groups of beta blockers? They have less, ano po? Less side effects, tama, because of their partial agonistic activity. Very good. How about for beta blockers with alpha blocking capacity? They could also block the alpha 1 receptor. Balikan nga natin, pag binlock natin si alpha 1, ano mangyayari sa blood vessel? Relax or constrict? Relax or contract, sorry. Pag binlock mo si alpha 1, okay, ulitin mo sa isip mo, i-program mo sa isip mo, alpha 1, GQ, QQQ, contract. That's activation, right? How about if you try to block it? It will cause relaxation. So, can I conclude, mga doc, that beta blockers with alpha blocking capacity are also vasodilators? Can I conclude that? Yes or no? Can you help me in the chat box? Are beta blockers with alpha blocking capacity also vasodilatory? Yes. Okay? Tama po yun. They are not ending in olol, only in lol. Okay? So anong side effect nila? Kapag vasodilator, they can cause orthostasis. Okay? Or yung orthostatic hypotension. Okay, you already know the meaning of orthostatic hypotension. Good. Let's now move on to, okay, some of the beta blockers. So propranolol, this is the prototypical, okay, non-selective beta blocker prototype. For metoprolol, okay, and atenolol, they are cardioselective and widely used in hypertension because they have long half-lives. Okay, these drugs can be administered as once daily administration. That's why they offer better use than propranolol. For nadolol, okay, carteolol, betoxolol, and bisoprolol, they also offer longer half-lives. So they could also be administered as once daily administration. Okay? So longer din sila from mas mahaba pa kay metoprolol tsaka kay atenolol. So yung may ikli, propranolol, the intermediate ones are meto and ate. The longer acting agents are the nadolol, carteolol, betaxolol, and bisoprolol. For pindolol, acebutolol, and penbutolol, they are, okay, partial agonists. Ibig sabihin, they have intrinsic sympathomimetic activity. Okay, they have lesser side effects. And if you suddenly stop them, there would be less risk of withdrawal syndrome. Lesser risk of withdrawal syndrome. For labetalol, okay, and carvedilol, they have vasodilating property because of their alpha-1 blocking capacity. Okay? How about for nebivolol, mga doc? Si nebivolol, wala po siyang activity on the alpha-1 receptor, but it's also vasodilatory. Bakit daw po? Because it increases nitric oxide synthesis. Diba? Naalala niyo po si nitric oxide? Nitric oxide activates guanylyl cyclase. And guanylyl cyclase produces what second messenger, which is vasodilatory. Can you help me recall in the chat box? Cyclic guanylyl cyclase. Is it AMP, mga doc? Cyclic AMP ba? What's the second messenger, which is vasodilatory? Correct. Cyclic GMP. Okay, cyclic GMP, which leads to vasodilation. Vasodilation. So if they ask you, sino yung tatlong beta blockers na merong, okay, vasodilating property, labetalol, carvedilol, and nebivolol. Pero yung hindi nag-end sa olol, yung labetalol and carvedilol, they have alpha-1 blocking capacity. For nebivolol, it doesn't have that effect, but rather it increases the release of nitric oxide in the endothelium or the vascular smooth muscle. And as we all know, nitric oxide activates guanylyl cyclase to produce second messenger called cyclic GMP. And cyclic GMP is a potent vasodilator. Vasodilator. We have esmolol. Okay, literal na esmol because it has a short duration of action. Short duration of action. It's rapidly metabolized by the blood esterases in the body. This is a cardioselective beta blockers. We commonly use it for hypertensive crises. Okay, like hypertensive emergencies. So in the hospitals, we administer this intravenously to provide intraoperative and post-operative management of hypertension. Last, we have the alpha blockers. So, sino-sino po yung mga alpha blockers natin? Okay, selective alpha-1 blockers. Sinabi ko na sa inyo, all of them are ending in sozines, prazosin, doxazosin, terazosin, and tamsulosin. So, si tamsulosin lang yung medyo hindi nag-end sa zosine. But all of them are alpha-1 receptor blockers. For the non-selective alpha blockers, we have two, phentolamine and phenoxybenzamine. What's the difference? Phentolamine is a reversible, non-selective. Okay? Sorry, mga doc, can you remove or erase alpha-1? Okay, it's non-selective alpha blockers because they can block both alpha-1 and alpha-2. So, paki-erase na lang po yung alpha-1 dun sa non-selective. Okay, ano po yung pagkakaiba ni phentolamine kay phenoxybenzamine? Phentolamine is reversible, while phenoxybenzamine, okay, is irreversible alpha blockers. Okay? Dahil po ang mga alpha blockers ay vasodilators, they could, okay, evade the RAS as a compensatory mechanism causing fluid retention. And they can cause first dose phenomenon. Okay, this is called first dose syncope. Sir, ano pong ibig sabihin ng first dose syncope? Yung ibang nagte-take na mga selective alpha blockers or the non-selective alpha blockers, sa first dose nila, nahihimatay sila or nawawalan sila ng consciousness. That's called first dose syncope. Okay? Why? Because of severe lowering of the peripheral vascular resistance due to arteriolar vasodilation. Di ba? Naalala nyo ba? Di ba? Dilating the arteries could effectively lower the blood pressure because it directly, okay, reduces the peripheral vascular resistance. Napaka-effective na mga alpha blockers sa pagpapababa ng blood pressure. Kasi dinadilate nila ng sobrang, okay, effective yung mga arteries natin. Kaya yung ibang niyan on their first doses, nahihimatay sila. Okay? Is that normal? Yes, it could be normal for other patients. But again, always start with the lowest possible dose because too much low blood pressure is fatal. Okay? It could induce shock. Okay? Shock is fatal. Saan ginagamit yung mga alpha-1 blockers? They are useful in the management of hypertension and urinary retention for patients with BPH. Ano nga yung BPH? Benign prostatic hyperplasia. Kaya, sinong magandang gumamit ng mga selective alpha-1 blockers? Yung mga matandang lalaki na merong BPH. So, ang mga babae po ay hindi nagkakaroon ng BPH. So, wala naman kayong prostate, mga doc. So, yung mga lalaki lang po yan. Okay? So, we are done with the sympathoplegics. Let's now move on to vasodilators. Okay, how could vasodilators lower, okay, the blood pressure? If you dilate the arteries, sinong nilo-lower mo? The peripheral vascular resistance. How about if you dilate the veins? Could dilating the veins provide direct or indirect effect on lowering the blood pressure? Can you help me? Di ba si arteries, sure tayo, direct. Okay, it could only provide indirect because dilating the veins could lower, ano nga, the stroke volume. Lowering the stroke volume will reduce the cardiac output and ultimately lowering the blood pressure. Tama yun. Very good. So makikita niyo mamaya sino yung mga vasodilatories. Okay? Na pwedeng mag-dilate kay arteries siya kay veins. So ito na yon. For the CCBs are the most popular among the vasodilators or the calcium channel blockers. So the CCBs are also potent vasodilators because they could also dilate the veins and the arteries at the same doses. But for hydralazine, minoxidil, and diazoxide, they could only dilate which blood vessels? Only the arteries. That's why we call them the direct vasodilators because they could only, okay, dilate the arteries but not the veins. Okay? How about yung mga non-selective together with the CCBs? So again, yung mga CCBs, mga non-selective din sila. Anong ibig sabihin ng non-selective? They could dilate both the arteries and the veins. So we have the nitrates. Okay? Marami po akong nabanggit na mga nitrates sa inyo, mga doc. That includes sodium, nitroprusside, yung mga organic nitrates natin. Di ba? Amyl, ano nga? Nitrite, isosorbide, nitrite, isosorbide dinitrite. Yung letter N, nitro. So I think most of them were already mentioned during our previous discussion. Okay. And of course, the alpha blockers. The alpha blockers could also dilate both the arteries and the veins. Okay? So, ulitin nga natin mga doc, review tayo. Bakit napaka-powerful na mga nitrates? Okay? In dilating both your arteries and veins. Ano nga? They increase the production of nitric oxide, yung NO. Diba? Nitric oxide activates the enzyme guanylyl cyclase, producing the second messenger cyclic GMP, therefore causing potent relaxation, particularly by dephosphorylating the myosin light chain phosphate. Okay, ito yung kanyang molecular dephosphorylation. Baligtad. Relation of the myosin light chain phosphate. Okay, so the phosphorylation of the myosin light chain phosphate will relax the blood vessels. Okay, so these are the mechanisms of action, mga doc, ng mga gamot natin. For hydralazine, okay, including the nitrates, they could release nitric oxide. Okay, minoxidil diazoxide, they can hyperpolarize the blood vessels. How? By opening the potassium channels. Diba sabi natin, pag hyperpolarize, can you help me recall? Inhibitory or excitatory? Can you help me recall the hyperpolarization? Inhibitory or excitatory? Inhibitory. So, sinong may inhibit? It will inhibit the contraction of the vascular smooth muscle. So, inhibiting the contraction will lead to relaxation. Relaxation. Next, we have the CCBs. Okay? Ano naman ginagawa ng mga CCBs? They block depolarization of the blood vessels. Ano nga pag na-depolarize? Contract. Paano niya binablock ang depolarization? By blocking what ion channels naman? The calcium ion channels. So it will prevent depolarization. So kung walang depolarization, the membrane remains to be hyperpolarized. So pag hyperpolarized, relax. Pero sino pong mga calcium channel blockers madalas ang binablock ng mga CCBs? The L-type calcium channel blockers. Pag L-type, they are usually seen in the blood vessels. Okay? Blood vessels. Okay po. Next, phenoldiazepam. It activates the dopamine receptor, particularly the D sub 1 receptor. So, activation of the dopamine 1 receptor will lead to renal vasodilation. Okay. Let's proceed with the CCBs, mga doc. Mga CCBs natin, they are classified based on generation, first gen and second gen. For first gen, we have diltiazem and verapamil, including nifedipine. For second generation, all of them are ending in dipines. Okay? But the more useful classification is this. Mas okay pong classification to kasi yung base generation. They are classified also on two Okay, non-DHP and the DHP CCBs. Ano po yung non-DHPs? Okay, non-dihydropyridines and the DHP, dihydropyridines. Ano pong pagkakaiba ng dihydropyridines sa non-dihydropyridines? Kapag non-dihydropyridines, they are cardio-selective and lesser effects on the blood vessels. Okay? Bakit po? Bakit kaya? Kasi magkaibang calcium channel yung binablock nila. Okay, recall nga tayo, ano nga yung calcium channel na nakikita sa blood vessel? Can you help me? What particular type? L type? Is it L type or T type? L type, T type. Okay, it's L type. So more on L type. Okay, correct. It's L type calcium channel. So madalas yan nakita sa blood vessel. Pero yung mga non-dihydropyridines, they can also block the T type calcium channel. The T-type calcium channel is exclusively found in the cardiac muscles, particularly the pacemakers. Okay, nasa pacemakers na. That's why, mga doc, non-dihydropyridines are said to be cardio-selective because they block the T-type. Yung mga mga dihydropyridines more on L-type. So they are vasoselective. Vasoselective. If they ask you what is the most cardioselective CCB, you will answer verapamil. Verapamil. Because verapamil exclusively blocks the T-type calcium channel. For diltiazem, it could block both the T-type and the L-type calcium channel. Okay? So, those are the CCBs that we have. And then, ano pang panandaan nyo sa mga sa dihydropyridines? All of them are ending in dipines, like nifedipine. Okay? Question. Which calcium channel blocker has the greatest depressant effect on the heart and may decrease heart rate and cardiac output? Can you help me recall? Kakasabi ko lang kanina. Which CCB has the greatest, okay, depressant effect sa heart? Correct. Verapamil. Verapamil. Okay? Because verapamil is very selective to the T-type calcium channel. So, ano yung clinical uses ng mga CCBs? Of course, they are used for hypertension. They are also used for certain types of pain like angina pectoris or chest pain. Okay? For effort and vasospastic angina. They are also useful, guys, for arrhythmia, mga doc. Ano pong arrhythmia? SVT. Okay? Hindi po 70 na. SVT is supraventricular tachycardia. Meron bang mga ano dito? Carats. Heart reactions nga yung mga carats. Uy, meron, no? Nice. Okay, dalawa lang. Pangit yung kabanding. Di, joke lang. Okay. Let's proceed with SVT, guys, is supraventricular tachycardia. Okay, like verapamil. Next, we also use them for prophylaxis for migraine. Okay, preterm labor, we can also use them for stroke and hemorrhagic stroke, which is nimodipine. See, nimodipine, it's very potent. It could also dilate the subarachnoid blood vessels. Ganun siya ka-potent. It could dilate the subarachnoid blood vessels. Last, the CCBs are also used for Raynaud's phenomenon or Raynaud's syndrome. May mga tao po na kapag mainit, okay, when it's hot or when it's cold, the blood vessels on their hands undergo
related to
continuous or transient contraction. And as we all know, contracting the blood vessels would result to vasoconstriction. Kaya nagiging color violet yung kanilang kamay. Ang tawag doon Raynaud's syndrome. Okay? Kasi nawawala ng dugo. So, medyo malala na yung violet, pero yung iba, namumutla muna kasi walang dugo. Pag violet, delikadong-delikado na yun because the hands are deprived of oxygen already. Okay? So, one of the drugs that we could safely use to manage Raynaud's syndrome is the CCBs. So, ginagamit yan, guys, to dilate the blood vessels on your hands. So, dilating the blood vessels will allow the blood to flow across your digits or your fingertips. Okay? Let's now move on to minoxidil. Anong meron kay minoxidil? This is an orally active vasodilator which only dilates the arteries. Nung unang panahon, na-discover si minoxidil, okay, they noticed that all those patients who took minoxidil, okay, undergone hypertrichosis. Ano nga yung hypertrichosis? There is increased growth of hair or what we call hirsutism. Pareho lang yan. Kumapal yung buhok nila, mga dok. So, isipin mo, kahit saang parte ng katawan mo na may buhok, kumapal siya nung nag-take sila ng minoxidil. Kaya si minoxidil ngayon, okay, it has a formulation for topical administration for hair growth. Diba? Example is Rogaine that you see in drugstores. So, pinapahid po yan sa scalp to induce hair growth. Okay? Ano po yung kanyang other side effects? Edema. Kasi lahat po ng mga vasodilators could have a compensatory mechanism by activating RAAS, the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. So, nagkaka-edema kapag nagmamanas, kapag naka-vasodilators. Matic po yun. The other compensatory mechanism is reflex tachycardia. Flushing, this is due to vasodilation. Headache, nabanggit ko na po ito, hirsutism or hypertrichosis. Okay, so ginagamit siya to treat hair loss like alopecia, okay, or male pattern baldness. Mas common siya sa lalaki, male pattern baldness. Okay, MPB, male pattern baldness. Next, we have hydralazine. Hydralazine, kung naalala nyo, could be safely administered in pregnant women. It could only dilate the arteries and effective in severe hypertensive emergencies. When combined with nitrates, it's effective for the treatment of heart failure, especially in African American patients. So magandang gamitin yan sa mga African American patient. Parang nasabi ko na kasi sa inyo, yung mga African American patients natin, hindi effective sa kanila yung mga angiotensin antagonist, di ba? Parang nasabi ko na yun, yung mga losartan, captopril, okay? So, it's bad for them na hindi effective sa kanila yon. Kasi losartan and captopril group of drugs are highly efficacious. So it's a missed opportunity for them. That's why they have alternative medications like hydralazine plus nitrates. So what could be the adverse effects of hydralazine? Mga dok, the unique. Tandaan niyo po yung mga unique, ah. Hydralazine causes Systemic lupus erythematosus or butterfly rash. Yung akala mo kinilig-kilig ka lang, butterfly rash na pala. So that's the most common side effect of hydralazine. Cardiovascular effects like hypotension, reflex tachycardia, palpitation, and angina. It could also trigger CNS effects. So again, hydralazine is known to cause butterfly rash, lupus-like syndrome. Okay? Next, we have sodium nitroprusside. This is a non-selective vasodilator, meaning it could dilate both the arteries and the veins. This is useful in treating hypertensive emergency. So if the patient experiences hypertensive emergency, sodium nitroprusside is the first line agent for all medical emergencies related to hypertension. Ano po yung kanyang adverse effects? Mga doc, tatandaan nyo to, it could lead to cyanide poisoning, particularly if, okay, sodium nitroprusside is exposed to, okay, light. Kapag siya ay na-expose sa UV radiations. So it should be kept in dark room and it should be freshly prepared. So kapag may sobra na sodium nitroprusside, we have to discard it. Okay? And while preparing it, we have to protect it from light because it could cause cyanide poisoning. And cyanide is fatal. It could cause death. Okay? Nakakamatay po yan. Because cyanide will replace oxygen in the hemoglobin, leading to hypoxia. Okay? It could also cause hypotension, metabolic acidosis, arrhythmia, and methemoglobinemia. Okay? Pero ang pinaka-importante dyan ay cyanide poisoning. So again, how to avoid cyanide poisoning? Protect the drug from light and use freshly prepared solutions. How about for diazoxide? Okay, diazoxide, mga doc, is also a direct vasodilator and it's used for hypertensive emergency. We can also use it to treat hypoglycemia because it inhibits insulin release, causing, okay, increased sugar levels in the blood. So, dapat iwasan to ng mga diabetic patients because it could cause hyperglycemia. So, again, okay, wag pong iti-take dapat ng mga diabetic ang diazoxide. And diazoxide, mga doc, it has a similar structure with the thiazide diuretics. Naalala nyo ba yung thiazide diuretics? Ano yung side effect niya? Sa metabolic side effects, hyperglycemia and hyperlipidemia. So, ganun din si diazoxide. Okay? Balikan natin. Nasaan na yan? Baka sabihin nyo, hindi totoo yung sinasabi ko. Ito, tignan nyo. Sige. Kita nyo? Hyperglycemia. Kita nyo? And hyperlipidemia. So, these are the adverse effects of thiazide diuretic. So, halos kapatid nila si diazoxide. Pero si diazoxide, wala siyang diuretic activity. Okay? We have phenoldiazepam. This is a dopamine 1 receptor agonist, which dilates the peripheral arteries. The most important is the renal vasculature. We use this for hypertensive emergency. So this should be administered as IV infusion because it could only provide a short duration of action. So again, lahat naman po ng mga vasodilators ay nagkakos ng reflex tachycardia. It could also cause headache or flushing. Pero what's unique about phenoldiazepam is that it could increase intraocular pressure. So mga doc, we have to avoid this for patients with glaucoma. Okay, phenoldiazepam should be used with caution for patients with glaucoma. Okay, we have the last group of antihypertensive agents. We have the angiotensin antagonists. Okay, sino ba itong mga angiotensin antagonists na to? We have 3 subgroups, okay, of angiotensin antagonists. The first one would be the ACE inhibitors or the angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors. ACE. Okay, the second one would be the angiotensin 2 receptor blockers. We call them the ARBs. Okay, mga ACE inhibitors, anong palatandaan nyo? Pril, captopril, lisinopril, perindopril. Okay, yung mga ARBs, sartans, losartan, candesartan, telmisartan. Sila po yung mga, okay, mga ARBs natin. And for the renin inhibitor, we have aliskiren. Isa lang yan, aliskiren. Let's proceed with the ACE inhibitors. I told you all of them are ending in pril. Okay? ACE inhibitors, mga doc, are drugs. That's why they provide you a very, very superior bioavailabilities and they exhibit long half-lives suitable for once daily administration. Except, sino lang po yung dalawang hindi? Okay. Active drug? Hindi active drug. Okay. Kaka-TikTok mo yan. Hindi active drug. Sino po sila? Parang hindi na mawala sa isip ko yung normal na pag-enunciate ng hindi eh. Dapat ang pag-enunciate natin ay hindi active drug. So, sino sila? Si Captopril. Natawa si Madam President. Tinatawanan mo ako, Madam President. Ganyan ka na. Joke lang po. Si Captopril and Lisinopril. Tama si Doc. I think nasabi ko na to last time, right? Lisinopril. Okay, Captopril and Lisinopril are already active drugs. Hindi sila pro-drugs. How about for ARBs? All of them are ending in sartan. Lahat sila. Sino si Salaracin? Salaracin was the prototypical ARBs. So siya yung kauna-unahang ARBs, pero it's not clinically useful anymore. Only those ending in sartans. Okay? If they ask you, anong receptor ang binablock niya? The angiotensin 2 type 1. Ayan yung complete name. Type 1 receptor. Okay? Marami po kasing angiotensin 2 receptors. Pero the most important that ARBs block would be the angiotensin 2 type 1 receptors. Specifically. So this is the mechanism of action of ACE. Anong ginagawa ng mga ACE? They block the conversion of angiotensin 1 to 2. Okay? ARBs, on the other hand, blocks the effect of angiotensin 2. Okay? So walang sympathetic activity, walang retention, magdadilate ang mga blood vessels. That's why ACE inhibitors and ARBs are really, really effective antihypertensive agents. So clinically, anong gamit nila? They are considered to be the baseline treatment for heart failure. Pag may heart failure ka, mga doc, the usual drug that the physicians prescribe would be the ACE inhibitors or the ARBs. Sila yung baseline treatment for congestive heart failure. We also use them for hypertension. Napakaganda nila for hypertension. Okay, particularly for those patients with kidney problems like chronic kidney disease and also diabetes. 'Di ba yung iba may mga comorbidities, mataas ang blood pressure, may tama yung kidney, may diabetes. Ang maganda talaga sa kanila ay mga ACE inhibitors or ARBs. Okay? How about for ARBs? Anong use nila? Same. It's the same with ACE-ICE. They have the same clinical use with ACE inhibitors. Okay? However, ano yung kanilang adverse effects? Okay, then the most common side effect of the angiotensin antagonists is cough, especially for ACE inhibitors. Mga doc, yung mga naka-ACE inhibitors like captopril, meron silang dry cough. Sir, bakit nagkakaroon po ng dry cough yung mga pasyente na yun? Because, okay, it prevents the inactivation of bradykinin. So, nagkakaroon ng increased bradykinin, bradykinin in the lungs. Okay, increased bradykinin in the lungs, will cause dry cough. Paano pag ano po, ang lalala po ng dry cough ko, akala po ng kapitbahay ko, meron akong TB o meron na akong pertussis. Ano po yung gagawin ko? You can switch to ARBs or angiotensin receptor blockers. So ARBs have less side effects related to cough. Okay, more on yung mga ACE inhibitors yan. Okay, so again, if you're intolerant with coughing associated with the use of ACE-ICE, you switch to ARBs. Okay? They are also teratogenic. Bawal silang ibigay sa pregnant. Teratogenic. Okay? They could also cause hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia. Kaya kanino bawal i-combine ang mga ACE inhibitors na diuretics? Kanino sila bawal i-combine? The diuretics that could spare potassium because they can also cause hyperkalemia. Masama po yung sobrang taas naman ng potassium. So, sino nga yung mga yon? How do we call those diuretics that could spare potassium? They are called, can you help me in the chat box? How do we call the group? 3 words. Potassium. Ayun yung i-type. Potassium. Potassium ano? Sparing diuretics. Correct. Or the potassium sparer. Sino yung mga yan? Spironolactone, triamterene, eplerenone, amiluride. Sila lang naman yung 4 na mga potassium sparing diuretics. Okay? So remember those. Last, we have aliskiren. So aliskiren is a renin inhibitor which was approved, in the last decade for the treatment of hypertension. This is only administered once daily. And it has similar side effects with ARBs and ACE inhibitors, which is cough. Okay? Okay, the last few slides, guys, are just summary of what I have discussed for the antihypertensive agents. So, this one, okay? Kung mapapansin niyo po, some of the patients with hypertension require the use of 2 or more drugs. Why? Kasi nga, there is compensatory mechanism, there is physiologic feedback mechanism. That's why kailangan nating i-combine yung gamot na yon para ma-block din yung, okay, compensatory mechanism. Kasi yung compensatory mechanism na to, nakakataas din siya ng blood pressure. So tignan nyo, for diuretics, sinong ina-activate nilang compensatory mechanism? The RAAS. So kaninong magandang i-combine yung mga diuretics to also block RAAS? Of course, the ACE inhibitors and the angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, the ARBs and the ACE. Okay, some, they also combine it with the beta blockers. How about mga doc sa mga vasodilators? Vasodilators, tignan mo. Okay, clonidine, methyl-dopa, vasodilators, all of these are vasodilatory drugs. Ano po yung kanilang compensatory mechanism? Fluid retention. Okay, activation of RAAS, which also causes fluid retention. So, kanino sila magandang i-combine? Diuretics to reduce blood volume. Okay, for beta blockers, they could increase also plasma volume. So, we can also combine them with the diuretics. But for ACE inhibitors, they have no playback mechanism or compensatory mechanism. That's why ACE, ICE, and ARBs are very highly regarded as antihypertensive drugs. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi lang talaga sila effective masyado based on clinical trials to African American patients. But for Filipinos, Asians, they are really effective. Okay? Pag naman sobrang taas ng blood pressure mo, pwede nating i-combine yung ACE inhibitors with the CCBs. Yung mahirap i-manage yung hypertension, i-combine mo siya with the CCBs. Okay, these are the hypertensive drug of choice based on patient characteristics. So, summary na lang po ito. For diabetic, sino maganda? Yung mga angiotensin antagonists like ACE, ICE, or ARBs. For coronary artery disease patients, the beta blockers or the CCBs. For heart failure patients, the ACE inhibitors or the ARBs or the diuretics. Avoid the CCBs and the beta blockers. For athletes, avoid beta blockers because the non-selective beta blockers could block beta 2. Okay, blocking the beta 2 would reduce exercise tolerance due to bronchoconstriction. Pangit din naman na yung athletes naka-diuretic, madidehydrate po yan, doc. Okay, edi namatay yung ano mo, yung pasyente mo kasi na-dehydrate na siya dahil pag nagpapawisan na tapos iihi pa siya. Okay? For bronchopulmonary patients, avoid the beta blockers, especially yung mga non-selective beta blockers. Ang maganda, mga CCBs. For the dyslipidemic, avoid beta blockers and thiazide diuretics. For peripheral vascular disease patients, the CCBs, okay, vasodilators and ACE inhibitors are preferred. For end-stage renal disease, ang maganda dyan talaga ay mga CCBs. For stroke patients, ACE inhibitors and the diuretics. And for elderly, it's the diuretic, especially the thiazide diuretics. Okay? Bakit maganda ang mga thiazide diuretics? Because the diuretic effect of thiazide will be only until 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, yung kanyang diuretic effect, yung maiihi ka than your usual urination is 1 to 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, the thiazide diuretics would be only vasodilatory. Kaya magandang-maganda ang mga thiazide sa mga elderly patients because elderly patients can tolerate thiazide diuretics. The rest, mga doc, you can just read them. Okay? They are good to know information. So that ends our discussion for the antihypertensive agent. So do you have any questions so far regarding the antihypertensive agents? Yay. Yeah. I already gave the link to Her Excellency, Madam President. Tama? Opo. So you can just take it at your own pace. Okay? Yeah. So tapusin ko lang yung mga discussion natin for this.